Let's talk today about gameplay strategy for the average player. You know, in a lot of my gameplay breakdowns in high kill games, I'm of course landing Observatory. It's where I feel most comfortable. I can get kills. I know I can get plenty of cash flow. And then from there, I can rotate and get my game going. But what do you do if you don't feel comfortable landing hot? What do you do if you feel a little bit more comfortable landing on the outskirts of the map? So today we're going to be breaking down a high kill solo duos game where I'm going to land right in this area right here. And we're going to focus on my overall gameplay strategy. How do I set myself up for success during mid game and end game? Because that's what I'm doing here. I'm sacrificing my early game a little bit to set myself up for later on. And then last but not least, we've got to talk about how to know where to rotate to. How do I go about finding people to drop more kills? Now, when we talk about our landing spot here, just two quick things that I want to highlight. First is that it's going to slightly depend on your flight path and your circle. Landing all the way down in this corner right here means you have a pretty long rotate in. You've just got to be aware of that. But the most important thing that I want to highlight here is that some of these safecracker contracts are hotter than the hot drops. Like this one right here, just from my experience trying to get this video for you guys, this one right here, you probably have 2 to 3 other teams that are going to fly to this for whatever reason, because everybody's thinking the same thing. Oh, this is on the edge of the map. I should be able to get that uncontested. That's not really how it works. So what I am looking to do here is notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4 safecrackers and 1, 2, 3, 4 bounties, as well as 1, 2, 3, 4 buy stations. Actually, there's a lot of buy stations, but like 1, 2, 3, 4 are all viable options for me. So you really do need to start your game with a contract. There's not enough cash on the ground, and I'll go ahead and speed this up a little bit. Let's go ahead and fast forward to when we jump down. There's not enough cash on the ground to really get you enough money to be able to buy guns and a UAV. Now watch the little detour right here. I'm gonna fly. I'm not just gonna full send this, because that's where we get into like that really chaotic early game and you kind of turn it into a hot drop. So I know that there's a team that's rotating, if not 2 teams there. There's one team that's like right over this way. You can kind of see the shadow there as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop down on this safecracker, and as soon as I get down, I'm going to turn around, try to see what I can find and see if anybody's contesting me on this. So notice that it's not really a hot drop immediately. We're going to pick up a few kills early game here, but I just need to get a contract. I need to get a little bit of cash flow, and that's going to allow me to get my game going. Now, one thing I do want to highlight is my cash flow is a little bit different than yours when I'm playing solo duos, because if you're in trios and quads, it is more expensive to get your guns and everything like that. The magic number is $5,000 per player plus $4,000. So if it's quads, it's $24,000. If it's trios, it's $19,000. That's enough for every player to buy both of their guns, primary and secondary, as well as get a UAV to start to figure out where to rotate to. So let's go ahead and fast forward this just a little bit. I'm gonna speed this up because I do just want you to see that I'm not doing much early game. I'm kind of just looting up a little bit, you know, trying to find 3 plate right there so we can throw that in. We've got the sock in here. When it comes to floor loot guns, guys, make sure you're comfortable with what you have. You know, that's one of the biggest things, just in case you run into anybody. At least I feel comfortable with the Vaznev and the sock in here to get a few kills. But $24,000, that's enough to buy basically 2 guns per person. And we don't need 2 guns per person. We're perfectly fine with 1, which then your magic number would be 2,500 per person, and then the UAV. But that's really what we're looking to do, because what I want to focus on today more than anything is how to limit wandering. I think that's where a lot of you struggle as average players, is you're wandering out in the open and you're just getting smoked by people and you have no idea where they actually are. You have no idea where you're getting shot from, and you just put yourself in a bad position. So obviously, nothing really has happened here yet. I am keeping in mind that truck to the right. No rush on the safecracker contract. You can either split here a little bit, or you can, of course, rotate as a full squad, do a trio, quad, whatever it may be, or even a solo, and then from there, you can start to grab one at a time. You've got plenty of time to do this. Now, I noticed the team over to my left. Notice that is 2 teams right there, and I want you to just keep that in mind. But I'm going to go ahead and not worry about them too much just yet. I'm kind of keeping track of all this information. I got some people over here that I don't need to worry about. I got some people up top here that we do need to take note of, and I'm just kind of keeping an eye on those guys. Not 100% sure. Also notice that I am being hunted and I'm 2 threat. So put 2 and 2 together here. This is most likely my bounty right here. So that's probably the team that's hunting me, and you're going to see that happen here in a second. We're going to go ahead and just kind of focus on this. Again, we are kind of chalking our early game a little bit to set ourselves up for success late game. Now notice that those guys were actually pushing over here. See how they're starting to push my direction? So now we know that we're going to have to go ahead and fight this team. And execution-wise, guys, we'll focus on that a little bit. It is solo duo, so a little bit tougher here, but that's not too much what I want to focus on. Right here, just trying to get a clean knock. We're playing a little bit more patient. We're going to go ahead and tag that guy a little bit. Obviously, I took a little bit of damage as well, so we're going to quick plate, and then we're going to look to take a different angle. Now, that portable radar is super helpful because I can see exactly what they're doing. Make sure you're using those to your advantage. We're able to get that down. We're able to take that guy out, and now we've got a reposition here. We're going to plate up, and then we can go ahead and re-engage. Now, this is where the outplay potential is tough because I hear the footsteps, and now I've got to be ready for him. I check right there. We're going to check around the corner and be ready, and we're able to take out that second enemy. Now, when we talk about gameplay strategy, guys, and how to know where to rotate to, remember there were 3 people over on that car, so I'm still a little bit worried about that guy being over there. I'm not 100% sure if he's close by. Is he not close by? Did he rotate elsewhere? So I'm going to throw that down just to make sure he's not pushing before I go ahead and loot up. Now, a few other things that I want to talk about. I'm not going to be doing a stronghold today. You know, one of the things that I really wanted to focus on was not doing a stronghold with the AI, because you should be doing that with your early game. Especially if there's one close by, guys, do that real quick. Kill the AI, defuse the bomb, grab your loadout. And of course, if there's not AI, you definitely want to take note of those potential strongholds, because that's going to have UAVs, precision airstrikes, 3-plate vests, backpacks, tons of cash, which will really help you with that early game. When we talk about this early game right here, guys, we're going to grab the car, and I do want to circle back to this in a second. When we talk about early game, it's all about cash flow. That's where a lot of you are slowing down and you're not able to really get going, is because you're struggling with that cash flow. Real quick, by the way, as we are going to get this second safe cracker and really start to get this game going here, if you are looking to get better, make sure you are subscribed down below. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, guys. My whole goal is just to help you improve. Anything that you can do, like, comment, and even subscribe if you are looking to get better, just helps the video get pushed a little bit more. So I really appreciate it, guys. As I said, my whole goal, just to help you guys get better. Now, we got one safe cracker remaining. Let's go ahead and complete this. When we talk about cash flow, guys, $11,850. So let's buy a UAV right there. We have $7,850. So that's enough for 3 guns. So even if we're in trios, 3 people can buy a primary weapon at this point, and then we just focus on your secondary, right? Whether the secondaries, because of the range of the primaries, guys, we want to really focus on those. Secondaries, there's a little bit more viability. You can, of course, go with a Vaznev, a Lockman sub. You got the Fennec, the AK-74U. There's a lot of good, viable SMGs. But with your ARs or your long-range options, there's not really many that compare to the RPK at this point, which my RPK build, of course, as always, will be down in the comments below. But there's not great, you know, options for long range when it comes to that really, really long distance. So right here, guys, $17,000. We've got a ton of cash flow, and keep in mind that I only got a little bit of a contract bonus there because I'm by myself. If you're in trios and quads, you get even more of a contract bonus, and that's where it's super helpful. Just trying to see if I need to replace anything. Nope. Let's go ahead and rotate up and see if we can hit this buy station. Now, we are going to be a little bit careful here because I know that there might be people around here, right? I'm just going to assume, and this is where I am most susceptible. This is where you are most susceptible as well, because my goal is once I get a UAV, I want to really start to get that momentum going where we push, we get a kill, we get another UAV, we get a bounty, whatever it may be. But this right here, when I'm kind of wandering, is where I'm most susceptible. So we're going to get the Vaznev, we're going to get the RPK, we've got UAV, and now we're going to go ahead and pop. Now, I noticed that there's 3 back behind me, and there's 1 over here, and I kind of go back and forth with which team I want to push. You can really push either team. It's totally up to you. I decided to kind of push this way because it gets me going towards the hot areas of the map a little bit more, right? Once we get our loadout guns and we get our game going, then we can start to push these more congested areas of marshlands, hydro, you know, of course, observatory, which can be a little bit tougher to get to once you fly down, but you can always rotate back up there, and of course, Al Mazrah City. So once we get those guns, guys, notice now we're starting to push with a purpose here. I know that these guys are in here, and now I'm in a much better spot to be able to go challenge this. Notice a little bit of patience here, just trying to see what I can find, and this does take a little bit too long. This fight takes a little bit longer than I would like. Unfortunately, in typical fashion, that guy has self-revive, and I'm not going to be able to get that kill, but I am going to focus on playing some high ground here. Going up the ladder, when we talk about positioning, always focusing on that high ground, always focusing on cover, and you're going to see why those two things are so important here in a second. We're going to go ahead and just clear the roof. That's a bot right there, and this is where I downed the guy, but he's obviously not there anymore, and I'm just trying to see what I can find. Now, I see this guy out here. This is where, like, floor loot, you're not going to be able to get this guy right here, but with my RPK, like, I can absolutely smoke that guy, and I do not have self-revive, so I'm literally a bullet right here. But there's nothing this guy can do. I've got high ground. I've got plenty of cover here. And now we can figure out how exactly we want to re-engage. I'm pretty sure he's still in that building, but I'm not 100% sure. Going back to gameplay strategy, though, notice that I know he's over here somewhere. So we're going to make a little bit of an aggressive play. This is where it's a little bit tougher because I'm by myself, but I'm going to go ahead and just buy another UAV. I've got the cash flow, and by the way, I still have enough cash for another UAV after this if I want to. So we're going to go ahead and notice that they are very split right here. So I'm going to go ahead and try to take advantage of them being separated, right? Let's go ahead and push, and we're pushing with a purpose. I know this guy's in here. There is no wandering here. I know exactly where he is. We're going to be able to get that down. But most importantly, watch the UAV because of the second guy. Watch how the UAV allows me to know that I know he's pushing, but I also know that I'm in an okay spot here. I don't have to play this super quick. He's right down below me here. So now we can go ahead and challenge. Now, the other thing that I do notice at this very moment is right here. Notice this guy over this way, right? So I know that there's another one in this village area that I do have to worry about. Now, because I just bought a UAV right here, I'm not going to have the advantage of knowing exactly where he is, right? I just know that he's over here in this general area somewhere. I thought that was him for a second, but that ends up being a bot. So we've got to be a little bit careful. Now, once again, let's talk about gameplay strategy, guys. Loadout drops here. So we've got both of our guns. We want to take advantage of this free loadout. It comes earlier now, and that is having perks in this game is definitely an advantage, guys. We don't value them as much as we value them in Warzone 1, but they are just as important, if not more important, on the big map here, especially when we talk about things like high alert, which is going to be great. So right here, that's the real guy. We get the team wipe, so that's the guy I was thinking about. Now, I'm still not full sending loadout just yet. Still want to be a little bit careful, trying to see what I can find around me. Now we can go ahead, rotate over. And just understand, guys, I don't think the ultimate perks in our custom loadouts here are working. I'm not 100% sure, but at this point, I go to default loadout. This one right here, obviously, I don't need scavenger. That doesn't do me a whole lot. Strong arm is what allows me to see where I'm throwing, like, lethals and tacticals and stuff. Fast hands right here allows me to reload quicker and plate up quicker. And then we've got high alert, which is a huge advantage. Going to give me insight if I'm being looked at and somebody can actually see me. So right here, because we're by this loadout, I get one flying in, and let's pause for a second. Let's pause, right? In this very moment, what is the next play? Because this is where I think a lot of you struggle. What do you do in this moment? You just grab loadout. You don't know where anybody is, but I've got good cash flow. I've got $8,000 here, so let's go ahead and rotate to this buy station. And once again, we're kind of pushing towards this more congested area. It may not be super hot, but there's definitely more likelihood of people being there. Now we get enemy UAV, so we're going to go ahead and take out this guy right here. Notice that I get the down, I get the thirst, but there's not a team wipe, and I catch this guy flying over there. Yep, so now we get caught a little bit out in the open. This is where the RPK, again, I'm not doing that with a floor loot gun. I'm not doing that, and I'm not even concerned about looting them. Now, if you're in trios and quads, somebody may need something that has to loot, but I'm just going to go in and keep pushing. There's not a whole lot that I need at this very moment. We're going to dive off and start to fly down to this buy station. Now, we do get the car right here, which I end up stopping because I'm kind of thinking that they're going to push up this hill, and this is the only information that I have to act on. So this is that strong arm right there where I can kind of see, and they end up pushing further back that way, and I'm not going to engage them. I'm just going to go ahead and let them go. We're going to once again jump off here, start to rotate over this way. And this is where we start to get in a little bit of a tough spot. And this is where I think a lot of you struggle, which again is going to be that wandering component of not knowing exactly where to push. By the way, 7 kills already, right? Haven't really done anything special. I just looted up early game. I was able to pick up 2 kills early. We were able to get our guns, pick up a few kills here and there, and all of a sudden we're at 7. I'm not doing anything special here. Now we're going to be a little bit careful. Don't want to full send the buy. Might be somebody around here, right? I have no information about whether somebody is or not. So we've got to be really careful. Now, this is where a lot of you start to struggle. And what I will say is, let's talk about this here in a second. There's no UAV here. So we do have a UAV at this buy station that's straight across, or not, we don't know if there's a UAV. We know there's a buy station here, and there's actually a buy station hidden behind right here. So that's kind of my next move. Now, one thing that I don't do well in this game is use vehicles, which I would highly recommend, because if I have a vehicle, guys, I can drive to here, I could drive to here, I could drive to here. There's a lot of different buy stations that I could drive to, but instead I've got to rotate on foot, and this is where we really get caught out in the open a lot of times, is starting to struggle with getting shot, and there's nothing that you can do. Vehicles give you a little bit more cover. They allow you to rotate quicker. They allow you to get to a much better position with less risk. So I really encourage you, if there's one thing that I could encourage, 2 things that I could encourage you to do, is to buy more UAVs and then get in vehicles and use vehicles more to rotate. So, and keep in mind, in vehicles, guys, somebody might shoot at you, giving away that location, and then from there, you're not wandering anymore. anymore. So we're going to go ahead and see this team over to the left. I hear an explosion. That's all I have to act on right now. I heard an explosion over to the left, which means something has to be going on over here. Now, I see those guys inside, so I can start to go ahead and act on that information, right? That's all the information that I have. So we're going to go ahead and start to position ourselves this way. Now, I get caught in a little bit of a weird spot here. What I wanted to do, and you're going to see me re-engage this here in a little bit, is I wanted to get on top of this rooftop right here. But I couldn't figure out how exactly I was supposed to do it. When we talk about positioning, we want a little bit of high ground. We, of course, want cover. And that would have given me both. But I just can't figure out how to get up there. I figure it out a little bit later on. But I just get caught in a little bit of a weird spot. It just takes a little bit too long. And those guys are already out and gone. Those guys are already rotated out. And I'm trying to see if I can get a clean kill here. That's how I really want to kick this fight off, is by getting a clean kill, because I don't know where this second guy is. I know there's two of them, but I don't know exactly where he is. So the only thing that I'm working with here is what I can see. And I want to be very careful here because this is how crossfires happen. There's that guy right there. I unfortunately just can't get that good of an angle. So we're going to go ahead and disengage here and see if we can get a buy station and see if we can get a UAV. And that's where, like, again, these UAVs, if you don't have enough cash, you want to be rotating. That's another thing with cars, is you can drive over to bounties as well. I don't really do a good job of grabbing bounties this game. We're still going to put together a high kill game, mostly because of the area that we're in. Because we are in a little bit more of a congested area, we're going to be able to piece together a few different kills here. But 7 kills early, and this mid game is where I slow down simply because I don't have a car, I'm not grabbing bounty contracts, and I'm not really grabbing UAVs. And that's kind of where I struggle. By the way, first circle is going to be your early game. Second and third circle is going to be your mid game. And then fourth circle and on is really going to be your end game right here. So now we're going to rotate over this way. Notice the buy station is closed, so I know that there's a UAV here. Let's see what we can find. Now, I've got one over to the right, and I, of course, have these two here. And I have two more kind of backside this way somewhere. The other thing that I did notice that I do just want to keep in mind is that I am going to have one enemy that's rotating in from back behind me. So let's go ahead. We're going to push over this way, try to see what we can find. Now, keep in mind, they have no idea that I'm here. They don't have a UAV. This guy's on my level. This guy's flying in, so we're going to go ahead and beam him out of the sky. Now we can go ahead and just engage enemy number 2. Now, of course, if there's more enemies, trios and quads, you can play that a little bit differently. But for me, that's a pretty easy 1-2 right there. I get the first kill. I can immediately challenge enemy number 2. And now we go ahead and rotate over to this team right here. Now, this is one where I do make a little bit of a mistake here. I don't die. I end up getting both. But I end up slowing my game down a lot because of this mistake that I make. Right here, we're able to get on the rooftop, and watch my patience here. Watch the trigger patience that I have. I still can't get a good angle. By the way, notice the backside right here, if you guys notice that. So we know that there's a team over in marshland somewhere, right? Because they're obviously, they just bought somebody back right there. So now let's go ahead and see what we can find. Watch the patience here. I don't have an angle yet. I don't have an angle. And look, if I don't get it clean down here, they're just going to hole up inside of there and they're never going to move. And then I'm going to be caught in this really weird position. So I'm trying to see what I can find. Come on, just wait. I'm just waiting. I know they're going to peek at some point. There we go. And now we've got to execute. I break that guy right here. And this is where I make the mistake. I do a really good job here. I throw that in. What didn't dawn on me is when I see him rotating out this backside, this is a stronghold building, which means there's one way in and one way out. At least in this one right here. The windows are locked, right? They have the gates in front. So I get caught in a weird spot here where I checked his backside. I know he's in here. He can't get out, and I should have just pushed while I had the advantage. Instead, I've got to use the second UAV, which is just, I just really shouldn't have done. But we're able to finally bail ourselves out. I'm in a really bad spot here. We're just able to somehow get that kill. We've got 11 kills, and now we immediately take note that there's a bunch of people in marshlands. Now, this is where it's totally up to you. Playing solo duos and kind of putting myself in this like 1v8 situation. It's like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's just it's pretty tough, guys. I mean, that's a really tough spot to put myself in. So I end up rotating elsewhere. I end up rotating to the other side and trying to take it a little bit slower, knowing that endgame is where I can pick up a lot of free kills. When we look at the average player and what you want to do, if we were to map out the complete gameplay strategy, ideally, it would be land somewhere, do a save cracker, get guns for everybody, and a UAV. Start pushing, get in cars, drive to buy stations, drive to bounties. Now, UAVs and bounties and vehicles and acting on concrete information will really start to speed up your mid game. My mid game here is a little bit slow. By the way, buyback right in front of me. My mid game here is a little bit slow, but end game can be hot as well. You can pick up 10 to 20 kills during that end game if you position yourself well. So if we could speed up the mid game just a little bit, then we put ourselves in a really good position to get a high kill win. Now, one on the buy station, we're just going to hit shots right here. That guy's going to get knocked. We're going to be able to not quite get that thirst, which is unfortunate because everybody seems to have self-revive in this game. So now I have a choice, like, do I push? Do I not push? And I'm kind of in this weird position at this very moment of, like, what do I do? Now, the reason I push this as aggressively as I did is because he just bought back. So, you know, I'm in a spot where that guy is either going to land on me with a pistol. He's going to try to land on me with a pistol. I didn't take any damage, so I can challenge that guy. But I know that his teammate's not around. Of course, trios and quads got to be a little bit more careful. I checked UAV just in case. You never know what can happen there. I would always encourage you to at least check the buy station to see what you can find. And now we're going to go ahead and loot in here a little bit. We get the mortar strike. Unfortunately, we don't get a UAV. If you can get a UAV out of a crate, it's just a huge advantage right there. And now I'm trying to figure out where to go. Once again, in a little bit of a weird spot here. We end up getting smoked that way, and now I know that there's an enemy here, right? We reduced this wandering just a little bit. We're going to move first. We're going to plate second, okay? Now we start to re-engage here. Now we're going to start to take a different angle, try to see what we can find. I'm going to end up playing this a little bit slower. Look where he has to get to. I mean, he has to get to this gas station building right here or up the hill. So all I got to do is try to wait for him to rotate a little bit and see if I can find him and catch him rotating out in the open, at which point I'm in a pretty easy spot to get a kill. We're going to go ahead and play the rooftop, and I've got to be careful here. No self-revive. I know he has a sniper, which, yes, I needed a self-revive in this game. You know, it gives you a little bit more confidence more than anything that you can go down to something silly, especially playing solo duos. Now, there's kill number 13. Now, I know, remember that guy on the UAV that was flying behind us? I didn't know if he was still rotating in, so I'm actually just going to play this building for a little bit and try to see, right? That's the only information that I have is, like, there could be somebody rotating in right here, and now I'm actually going to play a little bit of high ground, especially once I see that circle's still in high ground here. So I'm just going to go ahead and push up this way. Like, I can hold this building for quite some time here and use that to my advantage and just kind of play this high ground and cover and put myself in the best position possible. Now, I do momentarily think, do I dare go fly to get a UAV? I'd probably be able to fly that far, especially from this top area, and I've got plenty of cash, and that UAV would be pretty helpful. But what happens if I can't actually buy a UAV there, right? Then all of a sudden, like, I'm in a really bad spot. This is one where in trios and quads, it's probably not the worst move to go ahead and do that, but you're in a good position here, and we start focusing on end game, right? I'm focusing on where are people rotating from, and just I should be able to pick up a lot of free kills simply by, you know, being in a good position, which we're going to do right here. We got sniper. Now, keep in mind, snipers aren't great. You've got to be careful because they can two-tap you, but we're able to get that first knock right there. Now, this guy makes a really good play. I end up making a little, it's not a big mistake, guys, here. It's really not. I just go ahead and I tag that guy, and I cannot believe that he reach-out that. Like, I just end up flying down, and what ends up happening is we're going to push into the building. Got to be a little bit careful here because I'm kind of expecting him to push a little bit. But we're going to push in here. We're going to plate up. And I'm just trying to listen to see if he's going to push. Trying to see what I can find here. Don't really see anything. Now, what would your play be here? What's your thought process? Again, I'm playing by myself. This could be you in a, 1v3 situation, but it's a 1v1. This could be you in trios or quads, and you guys are playing as a squad. So now I kind of gave up my positioning on the other side. Now I'm going to go ahead and rotate and focus on my next piece of high ground and cover. And again, this isn't camping. This is good positioning here, focusing on where I really do have the advantage over some of these enemies. Now, I know they were over that direction, so we've got to be careful as we're climbing up this ladder. The other thing that you should notice, guys, and this is something I always talk about in my endgame videos, is where are people rotating from? I mean, look at your circle right here. These teams that are rotating from marshlands, which, keep in mind, there were 8 people over there not too long ago, have to get to, like, this little island right here. So I know that I'm in a really good position to just hold these guys out. and just, you know, just kind of wait for him, and I should be able to pick up a few free kills here. Still 28 people alive, and I need 6 kills right here for the 20. Now, again, in trios and quads, you should be able to find more teams and put yourself in a better position, of course, with contracts, whether it's bounties, which we didn't do a single bounty this game, but you definitely want to be doing bounty contracts, guys. Bounty contracts are meta in this game. Gives you information, gives you cash flow, gives you the opportunities to get kills. Now, right here, we're going to see some people, yep, straight across here. We're just going to play this a little bit more patient. We're going to play it a little bit patient. We're going to wait for these guys almost to the point of no return where they cannot do anything else. The one thing I am worried about is this little house right in front of me. So I'm just kind of waiting. I'm mounted up here really nicely, and we're just going to go ahead and I probably shoot a little bit early there. I probably should have waited for him to get like right here. Like right outside the water a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and mortar preemptively based on where they're most likely to move from. Now, there's one guy right there. Watch the information that I get from this mortar strike. Watch the information that I get. What information do I get? That there's people right here. There's people straight across. And that's where we start to talk about gathering as much information as possible. You know, now I know that I'm dealing with that team as well, which is really helpful when it comes to determining my rotations and determining my positioning for this end game. Right there, we're able to get kill number 15. I see those two guys peeking this way. Right, I caught... Oh, did I not see those guys? I did not see these guys right here. I did not see this one or this one in the moment. I'm going to be honest with you. I see him now, or maybe I did. I don't think I did. I don't think I did. No, I definitely did not, and there's high alert. Now, let's talk about this. I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm just going to be honest here. And I encourage you to stick around for this end game. I am going to die here because of a simple mental mistake. I don't have self-revive. I know they have snipers. Now, I thought to myself, there's no way they can one-tap me. And I see the glint. Like, I know he's over here, and I'm in a good spot here to just hold him out of circle using my cover right here. And like I said, guys, this team wins. The team that kills me right here ends up winning this game in a wild fashion. But I know I'm literally in my head telling myself, you got to be careful here because you don't have self-revive. And then that happens. So, like, that's just a pretty bad play by me. I know they have snipers. This Victus does one shot right here, and it's just... You know, it's a tough play. So let's go ahead and pick up this end game because this guy right here, Nick Ray's, ends up clutching this up in spectacular fashion. And I want to really focus on their rotations, and I want to focus on their kind of strategy for this end game because more than anything, guys, even as an average player, when you struggle with early game and mid game, you can put yourself in a position to win end game, which is the toughest part of Warzone 2, actually finding a way to clutch the win. So they're going to go ahead and play this way a little bit. They are in circle, which is not a bad play. They could have just waited there to see where this circle went to, and then from there said, okay, we know that we've got a pretty far circle pull. We've got to be careful. Now, this guy, Mighty Angus right here, he's in a good spot because he's got a little bit of high ground. Doesn't do him much good, though. He's got to get to about this building right here. Now, this building is the ideal one because that's in circle. That's your highest point that you can see everybody, and you've got a ton of cover. There's a team already there, so you kind of have to be a little bit careful because they have the advantage over you right now. But that's also kind of the building you want to get to. So it's always a balance of like, do we try to push this team? I would not push this team. I would not. I would just kind of play another circle, see if we can get a decent circle pull that forces them to move, at which point we can start to shoot them while they're jumping off when they absolutely have to. So he's going to go ahead and rotate down. Now, right here, he's in a tough spot because he doesn't have a ton. Now he's in a better spot because he has cover. But before, he was just a sitting duck. You can't just whack the cone out of the way there, bud. This isn't Battlefield. Let's go ahead. Yep. And we're just going to flip back and forth. I was trying to make sure that I flip back and forth so that we can see both perspectives. He's in a good spot. He's got one up top there. Still 7 other teams and 13 other players right here. And notice there's 2 further back rotating. So he's starting. You can start keeping track of where teams are. Got 2 teams that are a little bit further back from this building, potentially rotating into the bottom. You've got 1 team up top, which means now we're looking for 4 other teams. We need to figure it out. But we're also thinking, okay, where could those 4 be? Well, there's probably one in this building. I'd guess there's probably one out here somewhere floating around in this way, maybe up on the hill over this side. So you can probably guess. Now, this is still a little early to try to keep track of all 7 teams. When we're down to about 5 is when we really want to do it. Try to see. Okay, sure enough, there's a team. There is a team right there. So we know there's one team out that way somewhere. There might be a team in this building that you got to be careful of, to be honest with you. Now, where is... So his teammate is right across the street. Yep. And they can just chill here. Let's see where circle pulls. Let's see where circle pulls. Okay, so they got a decent circle pull. Other than the fact that that team that was on top of that high ground building can actually still stay there. They can actually still just chill. Yeah, they're just hanging out up top. And that guy's just going to burn through plates. By the way, guys, if you're this player right here, can I give you a quick tip right here? If you're this player right here, do not put plates in. You are literally just going to keep wasting plates. Go down, have your teammate tap you every time. And I to be honest with you, with these guys sniping, like, I wouldn't be too over eager to challenge the way that guy is. Now, right here, they got to push in a little bit. So you want to focus on, like, maybe this building or this building. You got to pay attention. Yeah, probably one of these two, because these two both have a little bit of high ground and are definitely going to have cover. Okay, so Nick Ray's is playing up top. Yep, he's playing up top there, trying to see if he can get an angle. They're never going to be able to get these thirsts unless they have a precision or something like that. And this, he's freaking mounted with an AK-74U. That's just never going to work. Yep, go ahead and push across here. Oh, he's in a tough spot. Use your smokes. Yep, there's smoke number one. That's a good play right there to rotate, although he didn't really use it. Oh, little nade shot? Little nade? Oh, one in the cubby. Yeah, one in the cubby. I did not watch this, by the way. I specifically wanted to break this down as it was kind of happening. I know they win, and I know kind of how they win, but I don't know fully to the extent. Okay, there's one in there. Yeah, take out both. So one of those guys killed his teammate. Yep. And he's in a good spot here. Notice that he's in circle. He is in circle, so he can kind of chill for a second. Again, see where the circle pulls to. And this is where it gets a little bit tough, guys, because you just got to make a move. Like, it's really difficult in this moment to clutch these, and it's going to be a little bit of chaos. Let's see where the circle pulls. Circle pulls all the way over, but he does have UAV, so he knows where everybody is at. And you gotta use gas mask here. This is going to be a gas play because of how far the rotation has to go. And you know you got one in front. Now, I would beeline straight for this backside here. Straight for this backside here. Try to use your gas mask, right? Because I think that might be a trash bag. Yep, beeline straight for this back. Yeah, don't even look back. Don't even try to fight that guy. Don't even look at this guy. This guy is preventing... These guys right here that are shooting at you are... They're only going to do more harm. There's nothing that you can do about those guys because they're going to take your plates like they did. He's got one... Is he going to clutch this? I know he clutches this, but this is absolutely insane. He gets one. He does a good job right there. Doesn't get the thirst, so you got to keep that in mind. And he's just, like, not even in zone right here. This is one that I would not do. I would not shoot at this guy right here. Keep your element of surprise. Don't even, because you just gave away your location here and the fact that they now know that you're behind them. By the way, it is a 1v5 scenario. 3 other teams, 5 other people. He's going to get, I don't know why he's not getting into zone, but he ends up going down right here. And out of nowhere, what happens is it's a 1v1, and this guy that he shot at originally just died. And then here's the last enemy who just doesn't see himself reviving. He does not see this guy self-reviving. He's able to get that down. He's able to get that thirst. So I hope you found today's video helpful. As I always say, let's get better today, and I will see you tomorrow.